Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. The show is broadcast live from the illustrious Radio 1 studio. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. And you'll find me right here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. I am a business developer by trade. I have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. I'm also the host and producer of this Marketing Pulpit Show. I've written a couple of books, one called Played in Full and another called Smarter Than the Boss. I'm a professor at Prince George's Community College in the Washington, D.C. area, where I teach a few courses on marketing and networking and social media and digital marketing. We just added that. I'm also a contract with the Small Business Administration, helping them in the technology space as a subcontracting consultant. And so this is what I do. This is my purpose, my passion, and my profession. You line up those three things, some magical things happen. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about later in the show how you can go into 2024 with the winning formula. I'm going to unlock the secret to success of marketing in this show today as we go into 2024. We're trying to wrap up 2023 on a good note. I hope you have been successful, and if you've been out there slogging and trying to make it happen, I'm sure that hard work, it will pay off eventually. If you're on a good purpose and you have that passion in it, then good things happen. I want to say good morning to people tuning in. I see Mr. Gerald Brown. Thank you for tuning in, and happy 2024 to you. And we have an exciting show today. We're going to talk about things we should be getting ready for in 2024. We're going to talk about the 10 commandments of marketing. We're going to talk about what you should do for your personal self as we get ready for 2024. And we're also going to talk about some things in the news. We're going to talk about some things happening with Reverend T.D. Jakes. We're going to talk about Taraji P. Henson and her mathing. We're going to talk about this $1 hamburger today. We're going to talk about a few other things, so get ready for an exciting show. First, I want to thank everybody for this year. Thank everybody who has been tuning in to the Marketing Pulpit over the past 13 years. We'll be celebrating 14 years coming up in 2024. And my man. So I want to thank a lot of folks, guests, clients, listeners. Just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this show the successful show that it has been. Now, people have often asked me, why do you do it? Gatewood, you have to get up every Friday morning all early, comb your hair, and put on a suit. We don't have to, but that helps. What makes you do it? Well, let me tell you, folks, I'm into this purpose. I'm into this passion. I'm into this profession thing. I do this because it's what I do. I don't have to do this. I want to give back. Okay, because there's some things in life that are so important that not being able to afford it is not a good enough excuse. You're going to need it whether you can afford it or not. If you need to eat, you can't say, well, I can't eat because I can't afford it. You're going to find a way to eat. And I look at marketing as the lifeblood of a business. And whether you admit it or not, you're going to need marketing at some point if you're going to be successful. Now, then other people have asked me, well, but if it's free, isn't it things that are free, aren't they useless or lack value? Let me let you in on a little secret, ladies and gentlemen. It may be free to you, but it's not free. My services are not free. Because what happens, I have supporters, people who believe in my vision, who sponsor the show, who advertise by our services, and they are the ones who I give credit for allowing this show to be on the air for 13 years. We think about people, our sponsors like BLE, Executive Suites, Miss Bernadette Clay. She's a very demure, quiet-spoken, but powerful woman. She believes in the law of attraction and that what you put out, you get back. If you hang around people like yourself and like-minded, magical things happen. She has been a big supporter of the show, and I thank her. But I also thank other people like who buy our services and tune in every week. People like Attorney Bradley Thomas. This brother and I we go back so many years, it's hard to count. And the relationship, I'm telling you, the power of a relationship. Mr. Thomas, he's a regular supporter of the show. We designed his website. We've done marketing for him. His hosting and domains are all with Gatewood Marketing and the Marketing Pulpit. So it's people like that that's paying to keep this show on the air. Brother Gerald Brown of Eternity Plumbing. Great brother, spiritual brother. He's always there in the rafters, and as I'm up here in the pulpit, amen, and he helps me tune out the show every week. But if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. It's people like Brother Brown. He supports us financially as well as spiritually. People like Brandley the model. She's a sharp young lady down in North Carolina. She does good things. She's supporting. She's always uplifting, trying to encourage people. Has a big heart. We did her website. We did her all of her hosting and domain services with Gatewood Marketing and the Marketing Pulpit. And we really appreciate her and supporting this show and helping us become successful. People like my brother, Leon Gatewood of Holla, big nonprofit down in North Carolina, doing great things, been supporting the show. Of course, he's my brother, but he didn't have to do it. I have another brother, Joseph Gatewood of Gatewood Financial, supporting the show, supporting the company. People like that are paying for this show. It's not free. People like Neely Fuller, 95-year-old gentleman. He's an author. He wrote a book called The Racist Code. And we've been working together for about 10 years, he and his son. And very big supporters, use all of our services, our branding services, our web services, our marketing services, our social media services. Those are the people that's paying to keep the Marketing Pulpit on the air. People like Sean Smith of King Capital Direct. This young man has 2 companies. Sharp young brother. He has taxes and all. He's has a master's in taxation. And he has a funding company called King Capital Direct. He's been working with some of my clients. He supports the show. Those are the kind of folks that pay to keep the Marketing Pulpit on the air. Christina Ortiz. She has a company called AO Strategies. She has sent me an untold number of people. She said, Robert, I ran into somebody today, and I just know he needs your services. We did her website, been providing marketing and advice, and just glad to have her. Brother James Gray. Has his own YouTube channel. He and his wife, Diane. They've been supporting the show and the company for so many years. Just glad to have them on board. Mr. Ed and Yvette Lewis. Ms. Lewis, she's actually the chairman of the Democratic Party in the state of Maryland. She came to us a few years ago. We designed the website for her, branded the logo. Her husband, Ed, he's like me. He has an idea every week. So he's contacted me on several occasions to help him launch new ventures. It's people like that that's helping this show stay on the air. Brother Tom Austin, he is so community-minded that his homeowners association wasn't moving fast enough. So he retained me to help him move forward some of the initiatives to get the kids off the street and to help people with their debts. And so people like that, it's not free. Miss Amina Hammonds, a recent person who's joined our crowd. She has HBCU luggings. She's trying to promote HBCUs through her products and her services. Her and her family, Lois and Ivory, we meet regularly. We talk about things. We're going to be meeting again beginning of the year. It's people like that. No, this Marketing Pulpit show is not free. It may be free to some, but it's people like the ones I'm naming. And yes, I'm taking a little time today to kind of talk about some of these people that you never hear about that are in the background making this thing happen. People like Johnny Brooks, big-time government contractor, multi-million-dollar contracts, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Department of the FAA. Been working with him. We designed his logo back when he just got started back in probably at the same time I was getting going about 15 years ago. And he is rewarded my company with multiple contracts, and it's amazing. That's what keeps this show going. Miss Claudia Arietta, good hands and feet. She's a medical personnel, and she has started a company to help people with disabilities, and it's her dream and passion to build a facility, and we're doing everything we can to support her as she has supported us. People like Miss Krista Brown of Prince George's Community College. I've been working with her now, and she's been making sure that this information that we're talking about on this show, marketing and building your business, she makes sure it gets out in a more organized fashion through the Prince George's Community College Business Owner Success Series. Been working with her for many years, been working over at the college about 25 before Miss Brown and Miss Mary Jane Shearer, who passed away. But heart goes out to her. People like Earl Afari Hutchison out in California, Los Angeles. He's a organizer, community organizer, author, yoga specialist, been with me for many years, about 3 or 4 websites. So the bottom line is, and if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, because the list is just too long to name everybody. But to go back to that question, how do we keep the marketing pulpit on the air? And if this information is free, does it have any value? Well, first, the information is not free. It just has to be paid by others who support the show, the aims, and the purpose of the marketing pulpit. And I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. I also want to send my prayers out to Brother Joe Madison. He has been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he's been off the air for a few weeks now. And so we're praying for him. He has been a big inspiration for me. And so he's in our prayers today. And so these people that I've just named, they don't just support me financially, but they are also a bottomless reservoir of inspiration and hope. And that's what drives this show. And also, I'm going to, as we go into 2024, I want you to embrace this spirit of reciprocity. No, every reward you get does not have to be a check that somebody wrote you. Sometimes we just have to play it forward. And so that's the way I look at my clients as they support me and my company, as they're paying into my company's account and we're providing services. I like to play it forward by those who cannot afford it. And sometimes it's not even a matter of whether or not you can afford it or not. You might just not know how it works. And so even that itself is a part of the marketing and business development process. And so those people, we have to kind of give them a little nudge before they start writing checks. And so I'm not mad at them. But so that's the way we've had this community of the marketing pulpit, and why it has been so successful, because of the people in it, like you. I see Sister Colette Jackson out of the 805 Beta Sorority. Oh yeah, they've been a big supporter of the show, and working with people with disabilities. We had them on the show this month. So thank you again for the people of the 805 Beta Sorority. She was the past president. We had the most recent president on a couple of weeks ago. And so, like I said, I can go on forever. Thank you, everybody. But before I get teary-eyed here, let me just get into the show. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about some items in the news. We're going to talk about taking care of yourself. We're going to talk about the 10 commandments of marketing. So hang on a second. Just going to take a quick break so I can go dry my eyes, talking about all the great people that we have been working with, and sometimes it gets a little emotional. So I just want to thank you again. So hang on a second. This is the Marketing Pulpit. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I am Robert Gatewood. I'm your host, and I'm here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. I almost didn't do a show today. I did this great show a couple of weeks ago talking about telling you I was gone for the year, and let me tell you, the spirit hit me. It said, Gatewood, you got something to say. Get up out of that bed and get out here and do this show this morning. So thank you for tuning in. I'm glad I did, because I see a lot of people tuning in as well. Let's talk about a couple of items in the news. One thing we have tried to do over the years is to keep you abreast of what's happening in the news. We had a segment that was very popular. I kind of cut back on it. It's called War in the Workplace, where people just cutting the fool out here due to the pandemic. They got turned loose, and customers pouring hot water on the store staff, and people running their cars through the front window of the restaurants, and all kind of foolishness was going on. But we still do a segment on business news and things that are relevant and context that you can use in your social media. That's one of the things I push big time in social media, is that if you can give your post context, something that's happening that could be relative to your audience, then you might tie that into some of your posts. Taraji P. Henson is in the news. She says the math just ain't mathing. Of course, she's made the headlines recently because she was doing this tour talking about the upcoming Color Purple movie. A lot of people have already seen it. I heard very good reviews about it. But she was on Gayle King, and she got a little emotional, and she said she wasn't getting her pay. People weren't paying her. And she was saying, I think she was pointing to racial and gender equity in the pay. And so, people have been taking sides on this issue. Some are saying, well, if you work 12 million, is it somebody else's fault that you're not making this money, that you this man? She gives this example of this movie she was in with Brad Pitt, where Brad Pitt got like $10 million. She got like $150,000. And then she said when she gets this money, she has to pay. Uncle Sam takes about half of it off the bat. So if she got 150, she's left with 75. And then she got to pay like 30% of that to her staff. Not 30% of the 75, 30% of the 150. That's about another 45. So she runs in a movie and she walks away with about $30,000. Now, if that's the math, she has a legitimate gripe. But what I do have to caution everybody is that you control what you are willing to accept, and you control whether or not you should go out here and do it yourself. At some point, you have to ask yourself, is it the money? What am I willing to do to get the kind of money that I deserve? I made a decision. I was making long money in corporate America. I was come to like Diet to Go and Grand Union Supermarkets, Telegrocery. I'm presidents and senior vice presidents, man, but it wasn't mine. I didn't control it. I didn't own it. I had to bite my lip and kind of take some stuff that I wouldn't normally take. It might not have been, the math might have been mathing, but a lot of other things wasn't working. So I took the decision that I was going to leave corporate America, start my own company where I can be free. And I don't knock anybody who's working in corporate America. They can make some pretty good money over there in government. But you got to decide, Taraji, do you want to work for Oprah and Tyler Perry and Warner Brothers, or do you want to go out here and you scrap up a few coins and go out here and start this thing yourself and pay yourself what you're worth? That's a hard decision for any business owner. Just saying. Let's see what else is going on. Brother T.D. Jakes has been in hot water, taking some heat for being a little too cozy with P. Diddy. Now, on the platform X, people have been really hopping all over him. There was this case that came out with where P. Diddy was sued by Cassie, one of his former relationships, whatever it was. She accused him of physical and sexual abuse, and he ended up paying her quite a bit of money. That's what I understand. But in the midst of all that discovery, came out that Jakes was a regular guest at P. Diddy's party, which, from what we understand, can get pretty wild. So he's been on doing like an explanation tour, and I would just say this about that. I think we got bigger fish to fry. I don't know what T.D. Jakes did, P. Diddy did, everybody's gonna have to meet their make at some point. That's not for me to decide. I just have to keep my eye on the ball. Sometimes I think these things are thrown out here to distract us. I do not plan to be distracted, ladies and gentlemen. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But it's in the news, so I'm going to talk about it. Here's some good news. If you like a good hamburger, Wendy's is celebrating National Bacon Day from December 30th. I guess that's tomorrow. And from the 27th up until January 2nd, you can get a $1 bacon applewood burger from Wendy's. I don't know about you, ladies and gentlemen, but no, they're not dollar, 1 penny. Oh my goodness. That's a pretty good price for a hamburger, if you ask me. I mean, you don't have to be an economist to know getting a hamburger for a penny is not a bad deal. What's the moral of that story? And if we're going to talk about this in the marketing sermon, you got to promote, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to give away a penny burger, but you have to do something to create that buzz in your business. You just can't keep doing the same thing day after day after day. Do something crazy, wild, to get people to talking like I'm talking about this 1 cent burger, which I want one, by the way. Even though I'm trying to cut back on some of the meat and red meat and all this kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, some of my clients have been advising me on, and I must admit, man, I love my clients. These folks give out a lot of the advice they give is unsolicited, but I'll take it. One of my clients convinced me I need to start walking. So now I finally, after about 5 years of this guy browbeating me, I get up in the morning now and get on the treadmill every morning now, except this morning. It was too early. I mean, I'm getting up pretty early on Friday. But yesterday, and I'll do it again tomorrow. I'll probably do it twice tomorrow to make up for it. Another client got me drinking green tea. As a matter of fact, this is not coffee, ladies and gentlemen. There's green tea in this cup. Thank you again, clients, listeners. And Brenda, the model, said they need a vegan burger. I agree, Brenda, the model. If you're going to be giving away $1 burgers, don't discriminate against the vegans of the world. Matter of fact, Brenda, write them a note. Tell them they need to keep that in mind when they're giving out these free burgers. Oh, boy. Let's see what else we got going on. Let's talk about taking care of yourself as you go into 2020, 2024. And that doesn't even sound right. That sounds so futuristic. It seems like people be walking around in spacesuits. 2024. Now I talk a lot about taking care of your business, but you have no business if you don't have somebody to run that business. And I will admit, I probably need to be talking to myself, so I'm looking in the mirror as I say these things, but you got to take care of you. I remember my good friend, Candace Camille. She's always telling the business of being healthy. It's a business. And I agree with her. So these are some things that not only address the health issue, but let me throw out some of my favorites for everybody going into 2024. First of all, watch what you spend your money on. I don't be looking at me like, who you telling me how to spend my money? I'm not counting your money. I'm just saying and I've used Taraji P. Henson in the world. I'm not sure how she spends her money. Don't care. But I'm just saying, I learned when I left corporate America, I was living up to the expectations of those around me. You're making all this money, you gotta spend it on a car, a big fancy car, you gotta have a big fancy house, you gotta get some nice duds and clothes, you gotta take some trips, go to fancy restaurants. And you find out after a while that you're not necessarily doing those because you want to do them. You're trying to keep up with everybody, impress everybody. I'm just saying, when you decide this entrepreneurial lifestyle, man, you got to change the way you spend your money. Man, let me tell you, I got rid of all those Jaguars and Mercedes I used to drive. I would have bought me a Chrysler, bought me a new one. I take care of it, get the oil change on a regular basis. I do not spend a lot of money on things that can't get me my return on my investment. And so that's just one of my little pieces of advice to people going into 2024. Also, be a positive for good. Be a positive force for good. There's enough negativity out here in the world. And sometimes you may be that only positive person that person may encounter on a day or a week. Smile, say thank you, how can I help you? So be a positive force for good Once again, I said take care of your health. Drink water. Drink green tea. I don't know if it's healthy green tea. I got out that soda machine and put it in this cup. So there's probably a healthier version. I'm sure it probably has sugar and all kind of stuff in it. But it sounded healthy, so. And get your rest. Get you some rest. I've been trying to do that. Terrible at it, but I'm trying. Also, as you go into 2024, social media, take a break every now and then and just kind of be weary of what you put out there. Sometimes people can use information against you. So think about it. And when you're doing videos and pictures, make sure you're looking at what's in the background. Make sure your phone number's not back there. Somebody's not on there who don't want to be on there. So let's be mindful on social media. I'm going to say also, stop procrastinating. Stop procrastinating. Just do it. Man, I'm going to tell you, you can spend too much time overthinking stuff. I don't mean be hasty, but waiting for the right moment, the right people, the right time, the right resources, the right amount of money. You're going to miss out on some valuable things. So I'm going to say, just go ahead and pull the trigger. No pun intended. I mean, not literally. And cut back on some of this perfectionism too. I'm not a fan of perfectionism. I never forget the guys over at Diet to Go when I was working over there. And they taught me a valuable lesson. They had that approach called ready, fire, aim. They would think about it about 5 minutes, put it together, and put it out there and see if it works. If it doesn't work, they'll retool, come back, do something else. And they became very, very wealthy and successful. I'm sure that wasn't their only approach, but that was one of them. Value your time, know when to say no. You can't say yes to everybody who wants to spend some time with you. Some people just plain, they're just going to eat your time up. And some people have not earned that privilege. So learn to say no. Also, let it go. If you have a past beef, somebody did you wrong, it's probably causing you more harm than them by just hanging on to it and dreaming about it and worrying about it and how you're going to get back at them. Just let it go. Just go into 24. Do something else. Let it go. And also give, and let's play it forward as we go into 2024. Now, finally, before I get off air today, I'm going to give you, and I wrote these 10 commandments of marketing a few years ago. They haven't changed much because they are immutable. They're foundational, and they will withstand the test of time. And this has come from my life experience, my heuristics, being around others, learning, like Brother Manili Full always says, he's 95 years old. He starts every show. I'm still learning. So these are my 10 commandments of marketing. I'm going to end 2023 with and start off 2024. And this is the way to go. Number 1, commit to a brand that aligns with your purpose. Now, if you want to start your business off on the right foot, think about, why are you doing it? What is the purpose? What do you hope to accomplish? And that really becomes your brand. If they're not, you're going to have a mismatch, a cognitive dissonance. So let your brand be tied to your purpose, and you'll start seeing things manifest themselves throughout your business life. Think about, number 2, think about the needs that we have in this society. I call them society needs and wants. Identify one that your company or service is going to fix or solve. You don't have to create any new needs out here. That's going to be a hard hard road to hoe. Look at the needs that already exist. When you try to create a need, you got to spend a lot more money on branding and getting people to understand how it works and all this kind of stuff. So think about the needs that already exist. Then determine what group of people are affected or impacted by that need. So you have a need. Who needs it? Okay. You're selling water. Who's thirsty? That's your audience. Okay. Now, offer products and services that satisfy that need or solve that problem. Now, these are things that they might seem basic to most of you, but you'll be surprised how people are making this harder than it needs to be. So I'm giving you the 10 commandments, making it easy for you today. Now, once you've created those products and services, you need to distribute those products at the time, places, and methods that are convenient for that target audience. If you're selling senior meals, you can't expect them to come to your shop. You have to deliver. Okay. If you're selling services for young people, then they're going to want to come out and have fun. So distribute it at the times and places of the people that need it. Now you have to create a message that demonstrates your ability to solve that problem and to handle that need. We call that advertising. And you have to be bold when you advertise. Don't be timid. Because if you do these first 3 or 4 things right, you get rid of some of that indecision or fear of advertising. The reason people don't advertise is not because they don't think they need it. They don't want to lose their money. But when I advertise, I don't think of it as losing money. I look at it as an investment because I understand marketing. I'm going to get that money back and sometimes 10 times over. So you want to boldly deliver your message through the preferred advertising mediums of that target audience. Like I said, if you're selling to 18-year-olds, they're going to be on places like TikTok and Instagram and things like that. You're selling to seniors, they're going to use more something, maybe the Facebook, but print ad, maybe some cable TV, things like that. So you got to advertise where the people are watching. Now you have to reinforce that need for your service by a sales process called feature benefit selling. And when you're selling, you want to sell the benefits. The benefits answer that all important question. What is this thing going to do for me? That has to be in your advertising, has to be in your sales approach, on your website, on your social media. Look at your media and say, am I answering those questions on how I'm going to solve your problem? Now, I've been saying this, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it till I'm cold and in the ground. You have to build relationships. You cannot. I don't care who you are. I'm just going to tell you today, save you some headache and trouble. You cannot do this alone. You're going to need partnerships and relationships. I'm sitting here today because of relationships with BLE, with Radio 1, with Prince George's Community College, with the Women's Business Center out of Maryland, and all my clients. Those relationships is what puts me on this air, what makes my company, Gatewood Marketing, successful, allows me to go out here and give back to the community, build strong businesses, putting people to work. It's all, I don't say it's all, but quite a bit of it is dependent upon building these relationships. And last but not least, I do end up the show by saying, do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. When I say do it right, that means exceed expectations. Don't just do the minimum to get by. That sometimes is the unique selling position. That may be the difference between you and the next company, because many people are out here doing just enough to get by. And because when you develop those relationships and you put out a good service, we get what we call lifetime value. That means people are going to stick around and stick around and stick around and tell people. And it starts the development of what I call your ecosystem. Your ecosystem is when people come in, they buy services, they buy the next service you offer, they buy the next service you offer, they tell other people, and they get locked in this circle, and they can't get out if they wanted to. I mean, they can, but that's the whole concept of ecosystem. You see companies like Walmart and Google, they have perfected the art of ecosystem, but you don't have to be a zillionaire to have an ecosystem. You can have an ecosystem regardless of the size of your business. And it starts with committing to great service and exceeding expectations. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the show. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. I see a LinkedIn user. Thank you for tuning in with a hashtag sleep. Yep, need that sleep. And I want to thank everybody for supporting the show this year. And Mr. Brown is helping me as always on how to close out the show. Go to marketingpulpit.com if you have not already. Please follow us on YouTube. Follow me on LinkedIn. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. And that way you'll be notified when we have a new show. Thank you, Sheldon, again, he said thanks for the tips. We'll be notified when we have a show coming up, and we'll be back next week, as we always are, on Friday at 10:30 a.m. And thank you again, Colette. Glad to help. And thank you for the great work your sisters at 85 Beta provide. And I'm just going to say, have a happy new year. It sounds a little cliche, but I want you to have a happy new year. Be safe. If you're going out, if you're getting a little bubbly in you, make sure that you have a designated driver. And let's think about going into 2024 on a positive note and scratch those past beefs. Let's be generous. Let's embrace the spirit of reciprocity and partnership. And let's go into 2024 and make it better than 2023. On that note, what I'm going to do, as Mr. Brown, let me put up, matter of fact, I'm going to put up what Mr. Brown just said. He just said it for me. Mr. Brown, appreciate you, brother. If you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk, make it a blessed new year, and get to work. Thank you, Mr. Brown. All right, what I'm going to do, we're going to end the show by showing a few clips from some previous shows. So hang on with us, hang on for a second, and here we come. Don't go anywhere. And also, don't be afraid to say thank you. I appreciate people. I appreciate what they do. Your staff, your clients, your family members. It doesn't have to be, they don't have to go out and do anything major, but just learn how to say thank you and appreciate you. Sometimes you just have to tell people, look, I appreciate you. Guy came in my office the other day. I was doing some of their work. We were sending out their newsletter, and we've been going back and forth. And on the way out the door, he paused for just a minute and said, I appreciate you. Man, I stuck my chest out. You think I'd be beyond this kind of stuff, right? Yeah, but I need it. I need encouragement every now and then too. He said, I appreciate you. When you have a conflict going on, if you want to shut that person up, I'm telling you, sit there and listen. Let them talk themselves out. And somehow, I've said this many times, some of the greatest problems in the world have been solved through listening. Listening also does this. It shows respect. When you sit there and listen to a person and sit there and give them the time and the due, it is a sign of respect. It lets them know that their thoughts and feelings are important. If you're listening, but if you're sitting there yapping when they're trying to talk to you, that can actually come across as very disrespectful, okay? All that glitters is not gold. And it simply means that just because something is shiny and pretty doesn't mean that it has value. But there's another side of this coin also that says that all this gold does not necessarily glitter. That means we have people out here right now among us who are doing some phenomenal things, but they don't get the glitter because to them it's more about the purpose. It's more about the results. It's more about helping people. It's more about uplifting, and it's less about shining in the spotlight. So yes, there is some truth to the saying that all that glitters is not gold. But let's not forget also that there's some gold out here that's not glittering. And there are people. They're doing their thing.